Continuing to examine the fleets and financials of some of the world's largest airlines, let's head down under to look at Qantas Group and its 2024 financial report. Now, it's notable that the airline's fiscal year does not align with the calendar year. Instead, a fiscal year at Qantas starts on July 1st and ends on June 30th the following year. And so, this video is based on the airline's reporting for the 12-month period ending June 30th, 2024. We'll first start with the financials and end the video with fleet figures. If you're only interested in the fleet, feel free to skip to the latter half of this video. And one big thing to keep in mind before we get into the money is that the numbers are in Australian dollars. At least at the time of making this video, $1 Australian is valued at 64 American cents. Revenue at the Qantas Group came in at nearly 22 billion Australian dollars. This came from nearly 19 billion in passenger revenue, 1.2 billion from freight, and 1.8 billion from other. Operating expenses, which does not include fuel, totaled nearly 12.6 billion, while fuel alone cost the airline group 5.3 billion Aussie dollars. And so, adding all various costs together, expenditures totaled 19.6 billion. Earnings before interest and taxes was about 2.3 billion Australian dollars. Compared to the prior fiscal year, the airline earned more passenger revenue but spent more on fuel and operating expenses. As a result, it earned about $400 million less than the previous year. Obviously not at all the direction the airline wants to be heading. How earnings break down by segment is quite interesting as well. After expenses, Qantas's domestic operations brought in the most income at a little over $1 billion. Qantas International, which oddly includes its freight operations as part of its calculations, followed with $556 million. The shocking thing about this figure is that for the 2023 fiscal year, Qantas's international operations were far higher at $906 million. Its low-cost subsidiary Jetstar posted an income of $497 million. That's almost 25% higher than the $404 million in 2023. And showing just how valuable loyalty programs are to airlines, Qantas's loyalty division earned even more than what Jetstar brought in, earning $511 million for the fiscal year. When it comes to the airline's metrics, it racked up 141.3 billion available seat kilometres and nearly 117 billion revenue passenger kilometres. The airline group carried nearly 52 million passengers. With this figure, Qantas says that it was the first time it had carried over 50 million passengers since the pandemic. It's not as fast as other carriers' respective recoveries, but still a good sign for Qantas Group. Despite more passengers carried, more available seat kilometres and higher revenue passenger kilometres than the year prior, the airline's load factor was down 82.7% versus 83.3%. We had noted earlier that the airline had higher expenditures than the year prior, leading to lower income. This is reflected in Qantas Group's operating margin, which was 10.4% in this most recent fiscal year, compared to 13.5% the year before. Another interesting section of Qantas Group's report is its Material Business Risks section. Here, within a long list of risk factors including supply chain, cybersecurity and climate change, the airline states that the markets in which it operates are highly competitive and growth in market capacity ahead of underlying demand can impact upon industry profitability. It adds that competitors include both domestic airlines and major foreign airlines, including government-owned or controlled carriers. While the report fails to mention any specific carriers, it says that some of this competition have more financial resources and/or lower cost structures than Qantas. The report goes on to say, Australia's aviation policies favour a highly competitive environment, including more liberal rights of entry into Australian domestic and international markets compared to other jurisdictions. These policies have attracted offshore competitors, predominantly state-sponsored airlines, to the Australian international aviation market, which has further increased competition for passengers on international routes. There's a lot more detail in this report which we won't go over, but it was interesting to see that the airline group posted remuneration and STIP, or short-term incentive plan, bonuses awarded to executives. Qantas Group's relatively new CEO Vanessa Hudson was awarded $1.5 million in bonuses for the 2023/24 fiscal year. Not bad. This was on top of her 2024 base pay of nearly 1.4 million Australian dollars. Hudson's base pay, however, is quite a bit lower than what Alan Joyce was paid in his final year as CEO. The report states that Joyce's base pay in 2023 was $2.14 million. The group says that its strategic priorities for fleet planning are centred on three key principles. 1. Deploying the right aircraft for the right route. 2. Maintaining flexibility. And 3. Maintaining competitiveness. The group's fleet renewal program continued over 2023-2024 with the delivery of numerous aircraft. At the time the report was written, this included 16 aircraft, 5 new A321LRs, 1 new 787-9, 2 new A220-300s, 3 midlife A319-100s, 3 midlife A321-200 freighters, and 2 midlife A320-200s. Since that report was published, a few more aircraft have been delivered, while other aircraft, such as the old 717s, have been retired. In addition, Qantas Group says that it added 2 A330s and 8 E190s through wet lease arrangements with Finnair and Alliance Airlines. The Qantas Group fleet summary, with data taken from planespotters.net current as of mid-February 2025, is as follows. In the Qantas mainline fleet, we have 125 jets, 75 737-800s, 14 787-9s, 10 A380s, 16 A330-200s, and 10 A330-300s. Before moving on to the other Qantas Group subsidiaries and their fleets, we should note that 2 A330-300s have also been wet leased from Finnair. The aircraft are being converted to dry leases this year, with Qantas pilots and crews set to operate the jets from October 2025. Qantas explains its reason for the partnership on its website, saying, "Like many airlines around the world, we've been working to get our aircraft back into service as quickly as possible following the disruption to travel during the pandemic. To support the strong demand for international travel, we are returning our aircraft to the skies and taking delivery of new aircraft. We're working with our trusted oneworld partner Finnair to operate some of our flights between Sydney and Singapore and Bangkok. The jets appear to be registered as Oscar Hotel Lima Tango Sierra and Oscar Hotel Lima Tango Romeo. And so, at least for a little while longer, Qantas customers will get to experience Finnair cabins and its rather unique business class seat if they book a flight between Sydney and Bangkok or Singapore." But moving on with our fleet summaries, on the regional side, the Qantas Link fleet consists of 105 aircraft, 5 A220-300s, 23 E190s, 3 Q200s, 8 Q300s, 33 Q400s, 15 F100s, 6 A319-100s, and 15 A320-200s. The Jetstar fleet within Australia consists of 88 aircraft, 49 A320-200s, 3 A320neos, 6 A321-200s, 19 A321LRs, and 11 787-8s. Finally, Qantas Group's dedicated freight fleet has 11 aircraft, 6 A321-200 converted freighters, 2 A330-200Fs, and 3 British Aerospace 146-300s. And so, what do you think of Qantas's financial performance and its operational performance metrics? With Vanessa Hudson at the helm, do you think the airline group is headed in the right direction? Let us know what you think by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.